Hey, Jonas from
Hi.
Sonuscore. Nice to see you. Jonas is the product designer of this new Kontakt-based instrument, which also works in Kontakt Player, and it's called the Pulse, which, as I understand it, is a kind of 10-part multi-timbral instrument, which is designed to be performed. You take over at this point.
Yeah. So the Pulse is, it's like, it's a production tool, but also it's like a tool, like an instrument
Okay.
with which you can actually perform with. So the idea is to have everything that you need to compose like cinematic electronic music,
Right.
but also like modern electronic music.
So I noticed here you were using the mod wheel and I guess key switching down here.
Yeah, so like the idea is to have in every preset you have 4 different musical chapters and you can control them with the key switches.
So they're like sections, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like like musical chapters, I think. And with the modulation wheel you have full control over not just the dynamics but also you can morph between different grooves. So everything is like connected to like both of your hands. So I'm playing like with my right hand, I'm playing the notes, and with the modulation,
Right, so you're
control. Yes.
opening the filter in this instance.
Yeah, and again, yes. Like when I switch to like this key switch here, when I'm down, there's still a groove. When I'm up and the like this high lead is coming in.
Right, okay, so essentially, so what's happening under the hood for each part is there are sort of preset patterns, arpeggios, gated sequence and sequences, and
Yes,
mappings for controllers, right?
Yeah, so everything is designed that you only need like both of your hands.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's not just a static loop. It's like being created in the moment.
Right.
So
Because it's responding to what you're doing with both your left and your right hand,
Yeah.
and the key switches you take. So you drive the musical content, the
Yes.
chords, the root note, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
Yeah, and if you want to, you can change everything. It's not a loop that you don't, not just like a black box you don't have any control
Okay.
over it. You can change everything.
Let's have another preset
Yes.
and just to hear sort of what the
Yes,
difference
yes.
is, because I think to kind of get this, you need to
Of
hear
course.
it.
So maybe we continue like with this pretty like cinematic preset. And you see it's connected to the notes that I'm playing.
So there's a cadence to the way that the envelope's working and the
Yes.
filter expression.
When I'm switching now to the second key switch, you hear that the bass is coming in. Now you have
And
this
the
high
sort of-
lead, yeah. Yeah, this one, yes. So this really creates big.
Right, so your
late
bit
one-like
that enables
atmosphere.
you to build, could go from quite small to quite big. Can we have a look at sort of some of the individual parts and see what's
Yeah,
going on
of
under the
course.
hood then?
So let's start simple with the like first key switch. You have this. Maybe we solo this one here,
Right.
and just hear it. Like we have here 4 bars, and you see that the first bar the pad is rising, then it goes down again, then it's rising again, and it goes down. So you have this really
Ah, so there's
see this, yeah.
so that's tempo synced to the. We're running this as Kontakt inside Ableton, but it'll
Yeah,
work whatever
yes.
in any DAW.
Yeah, it's synced to your tempo in your DAW, and you can also change it. Like if I change it to like different tempo in the, you hear
Right,
it.
so it's kind of MIDI is driving the
Yes.
the sound engine, which is
Yeah.
responding to the MIDI, but the sound engine. So it's your sound engine as well. So each of the parts, each of the sounds, are from Sonuscore and a part of the Pulse, right?
Yes.
So there was another a view which had mixer, where we could see some of those
Yeah,
lanes
yeah.
in larger form as well. So
So you have this is the main page, like the mixing page. You have 2 different pages, like, and on every page you have 5 slots for like 10 instruments.
Right, okay.
And yeah, what is pretty interesting is that you have like these two faders here.
Yeah.
And one is the minimum and one is the maximum. So it's connected also
again,
to your
map
modulation.
so it's just
wheel,
if I just moved, oh, I see. So that's
Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
Okay. So you just set those up, but that's not just limited to there. I noticed the background lights up to show you how far you're up. That's quite
Yeah.
I like that. So what about how you map some of these other things? Because so we've got that rise. Can I look at that? Is there a bigger sort of lane automation of it? Because there's a few aspects to it that I wasn't clear what they did. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So if we want to go deeper in the pad we just heard.
Right. Okay. So what's going on there then? We've got different lines and graphs.
So when I go up with the mod wheel, you see
It's
that this is the range. It's just the minimum. So that when you're at the lowest point, you also hear this pad playing, like the minimum. So like down here.
Yeah.
You see when I'm now at minimum with my modulation wheel, you hear nothing, and then revise.
So right. And what happens? So those steps, are they kind of granular? If you switch some of those steps off, will we end up with a sort of gated type of pattern? So it'll be on off. So if you mute some of the highest levels and just turn them right down.
Yeah, then you have maybe grainy effects.
So then you can get a kind of rhythmic effect from that as well. So that's just what was that? Is that the envelope or what were we looking at there? That's
the envelope. So if you are in like more pad like slots, then you see this envelope here.
Yeah.
But if you are more in like a bass, for instance, this one is muted right now. We have nothing in here. But if you paint something in here, like the velocity, and then you hear this one. Yeah, it's everything is connected to the notes that you are playing. So right now we have in the note selection it's only the lowest note.
Because it's the bass line and it comes in. So
if we now change to 1, it's like it's the octave above. Because only the lowest note is selected.
Right. Okay.
It's pretty useful.
Okay. So that gives you. So that's octave switching.
Yeah,
right.
it's pretty useful for like for bass lines if you only just want the lowest note. When I change the lowest note, like for example, it goes to a different note.
Okay.
Well, I can also change like to off. Then it's like all the notes that I'm playing are selected.
Right.
And then I basically can.
So building up these kind of dynamic mappings is very much part of how these individual styles kind of come together. So that's quite a lot of work, and all the scripting that's going into the Kontakt back end. That's where. Right. Okay. Maybe we can listen to another patch that's just got a different flavour. Let's have a look.
Maybe we go into this one. So, and what you hear here is that there's a ducker word.
It sounds like there's a ducker going on there.
It's really important for this kind of music, is that the kick has its space, you know. And if you solo just the bass, we hear this like this.
Right, so we're not hearing the kick, but the kick is still triggering that duck. So, I mean, what's interesting about this is obviously if you didn't want the entire sort of arrangement, you could just solo one of the instruments and maybe use that as a sound source if you wanted to,
Or just solo like the kick and the bass. You just very simple groove on it. Or you just maybe.
So where does this go in terms of key switches? I'm curious to see, because it's starting quite big. So how big does it get?
So when you open the presets or sessions, as we call them, it starts at the second key switch because it's like the main key switch.
Okay.
But if we switch to the first, it's more like the atmosphere that starts. Then we switch to the second, which is like the main groove, main beats.
Is that instantaneous, or is that on bar boundaries that those switches happen?
You can switch them instantaneous, but it will always be to sync to your beats. Now the second. And then some bit more layers of the groove coming in. last piece, which is a bit more like an outro.
Right,
So it's typical song structure in this session here.
Oh, interesting. So all of the sounds that you're producing are internal. Are they sample-based or are they synthesis-based? I mean, I guess it's Kontakt, so mostly based on samples.
It's sample-based, of course.
Right,
but,
okay.
I think really important is the effects. Because in this type of draw,
it's a big part of the...
Yeah, you have...
I mean, I have to say, when you're hearing those on bigger speakers, because I noticed you sent some demos before and I was listening to them on my IK Louds, and they were quite banging, and it was those weren't mastered at all. That's just straight out of the unit, right?
Yeah, it's like just everything you hear is just coming from the pulse.
Right.
Nothing like external, like no external effects. It's just everything in here, and that's because you have an FX slot on every 3 FX slots, like on every channel.
Right. Okay.
Like you have these 3 slots here. For example, here's a filter. If you go here, here's modulation and going on, and so
those are kind of more. What about in terms of reverbs and delay and time-based effects? Is that a master, or is there one of those on each?
Like you can choose 3 different
there's
FX
a reverb
for,
there, right? Okay,
yeah.
yes.
Here's the insert reverb, but only you have like
Master
a send
send, right.
reverb. Here you can see global FX. You have like a compressor, a reverb, and a filter. So also what's pretty interesting is you have just this master filter here. If you just want a bit of like very easy DJing, you just can use this filter to do something like this.
So I mean, it seems like there's an insane amount of kind of individual components in it.
Yeah.
So I mean, these are all pre-built. I mean, how many sort of presets and genres does it come with? I mean, what does it come with?
So we like prepared 80 sessions for you.
Wow, okay.
So
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, so we call them sessions because I think the term preset was just not
no, there's a lot more going on than that.
Because there's so
it's
so much
like
going
an
on
entire arrangement.
Yeah,
encapsulated. It's like a sort of DAW session in.
Yes. Yeah, it's designed in such a way that you really can play with it like for a long time. And
so how complex can the sequencing go? Have you got another patch that maybe gets a bit busier in terms of musicality and stuff that's playing?
Maybe this one. So this one really uses just pressing the notes and you hear the loop. It's not just a static loop.
No,
there's so much going on here. Yes, randomness. Yes. Yeah, there are many options to like randomize your sound to make a bit. Let's create some controlled randomness.
Because is there some arpeggiation in there, or is it just all done on the sequence basis? That main page that we looked at.
Yeah, you also you can choose between like sequencing and arpeggiation.
And presumably drum kit sequencing as well.
Yeah, that's one of the main features. Right. That's like the drum kit view. Now in this kit here, just when I play it, it's just not really like a typical drum groove. It's more like an effect, like a grainy
top percussion sort of.
Yes, and it also uses like this chance chance function. Maybe here, this one. If I solo this, only just this stick click here. Here it's like
it's not triggering every time, but the probability is still quite high. So it's just a bit of variance, right?
Yes, the chance is about like 40%, and so you get this, it's just this randomness going on.
So it's entirely possible for you to create your own presets based on the sample, the library of sounds that you've got, and all those individual.
Yeah, of course.
So these are just sort of starting points for perhaps as well. So but you can save your own. Can you Can you save your own even in the Kontakt player version of this? Because I know full version of Kontakt gives you a certain amount.
Yeah, of course. You only need like the free version of Kontakt. I think you need like Kontakt 7 at least.
Okay, but it allows you to save your own sessions. I think that's what you call them, right?
So yeah, if you want to start like creating your own session, maybe you can start by just take a like existing session and just tweak some of the parameters. So if I have this one, for instance, it's like this bit haunting cinematic session.
Yeah.
I can just start by, I don't know, maybe add a pad, maybe a bit.
Have you got a piano? I can hear a piano over that, some sort of plucked, or something's piano-like, which has got a bit of attack to it.
Yeah, of course. We just maybe.
Oh, there we go.
Or like a Celesta, or.
Oh yeah, whichever. Just with something piano-like. That's it. That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. You could load with default effects as well.
Yeah.
So
this one has no default effects, but yeah, maybe with the
piano. So you can also just play the sound straight without having any of the engine modifying the notes you're playing, right? So if you wanted the piano, you could just kind of play, say, a pad over the top of it.
Yeah, of course.
And then it would affect, and then everything else would follow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's something called the free mode, and the free mode is like not like time synced. You can just play it like.
Right.
So if I just open this, I can just play it over the arrangement.
And does that also mean that, so what notes that you're playing then affect the other layers? Is it all of them, or is there a specific set of notes? Because I noticed when you've got the lowest note, it'll only affect the bass line. Can you sort of say where those notes go?
So you have the note selection. For example, if I open this pad here, you see in the note selection it uses only the lowest and the highest notes. So if I play a chord, only like selects the lowest and the highest. I can change it, like if I set the note selection to off, then it plays everything, or to only top and.
So you could right.
Yeah.
So you can set the density of the pad, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's interesting.
Yes.
Sounds quite good.
Yeah. In this way you can really shape the session like the way you wanted to have it. And
so I'm guessing also once you kind of play that, you've got this sort of set up, it might be a good starting point for some people. Some people might want to just move outside of this.
Yeah.
How do you access? Can you export the MIDI? Can you record the MIDI? Can you map tracks to different sounds? I mean, how does that, or different external instruments? How does that work?
Yeah. So you also can capture like the MIDI data.
Including the controllers and all of the...
Yeah, so if you want to do this, you have this small symbol here, and it will capture the thing that you just like, and then you can just drag and drop it into your session to...
Oh, right, so that is, okay, that's basically all 10 tracks.
Okay. Yeah, it's basically 10 tracks, and yeah, also the tempo information is imported into it.
Then you could take that arrangement, including all the key switches, which would change some of the MIDI patterns and whatnot. Yes. Then it would, okay. And what about play? So it's currently only able to play the sounds internal to the plugin. You can't map those tracks out over MIDI to elsewhere.
No, it's everything you hear is like the sound coming with the pulse, and so it's designed in that way that you just don't really need anything more. But I think you can combine it in your DAW. You just open like the pulse, and then you on one track, and then you have another track where you.
So I mean, I guess also you could set stuff up to. What about getting patterns in from external MIDI? So if you've built a banging tune and you want to somehow use the pulse in the playback of that, so you're playing and you have that dynamic stuff live, is it possible to import the MIDI into it so that you could set your drum patterns from some beats you've already programmed or a bass line you've already programmed? Can you do that? Does it work that way?
Yeah, not exactly, but like every sound we have in the engine, you have also as a single instrument.
Right.
So it just can, like, if you have a special pattern that you already programmed, like with in your DAW, you can just load a single instrument
Right,
from the
okay.
pulse, and then
All right,
you
gotcha.
have, and then you can combine it with the other arrangements. Yeah.
So this is available now, certainly by the time you see this video, right?
Yeah.
And what's the price and sort of download size, that sort of thing?
So the price is about 299 euros. So
Yeah.
I think maybe 250 pounds.
Yeah.
And yeah, you only need the free Kontakt version.
But it'll run in full Kontakt as well.
Yeah,
But it needs
yeah.
to be 7 and up, right?
Yeah, 7 and up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe you could play us another couple of sounds and we can skirt through a couple of more examples. That'd be great.
Yeah. So now the kick is coming in. Yeah.
That's brought the volume of the kick part in. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We go down again. There's no kick. Now if you switch to the second key switch, you hear this groove coming. And now in this special session, if we go right very fast to the lower end of the range,
You get a riser.
yeah, we can create like this little drop effect. Yeah.
So is it possible to bounce the audio as separate parts if you wanted to
Yeah,
capture the
of
audio
course,
as
yeah.
well? So you can multi-output it and just, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just can in the main page, just here you can just link the two different outputs of Kontakt.
Okay, and then record those. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
neat. Yeah. It must be very addictive. I mean, how did you finish any of the patches? Because, I mean, every time you're sort of jamming with them, it must have taken... I guess you
Yeah,
put together
yeah.
quite a lot of these yourself.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think yeah, it was really a lot of fun to do this. But yeah, it's also a lot of fun to play with it. You just can open like the pulse and then just play a thing like for like maybe 15 minutes and then switch to another.
Yeah.
It's like a big playground.
So you've got how many key switches? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
4 key switches.
Is it possible to? Would it be possible to expand into more key switches so you could have more sections, more chapters?
Yeah, so that would be really nice, but the sessions would be so much more complex.
Yes, I suppose so.
But yeah, I think you can, in your session, your DAW session, you can combine multiple instances. And
Oh yes, of course.
much
Yeah,
more
that's true.
variety,
And
yeah.
what's the load time like for individual things? Is it kind of fairly snappy? So
Oh, it's really fast. So if I open like this one, it's loaded like
yeah.
in a second. This one is quite heavy.
That sounds like that's got the ducking going on there.
Yeah. It's pretty rough, yeah.
And there's some variance in the pitch as well, which is a randomization of the pitch.
Yeah, in the bass.
So presumably some of these samples, I mean, where did you sample sort of analog synths and all sorts of stuff? I mean, where did the sounds come from?
Yeah, all sorts of stuff. We locked ourselves into our studio and just recorded everything from like very big cinematic percussion to really small, like more grainy percussion, like and analog synths and pianos. We also have like orchestral colors.
Oh,
if you really want to go deep into like more cinematic approach, or if you want to just have a little bit of orchestral colors into your like IDM track, that's possible too. We have like high strings and low strings for it.
Okay.
Yeah, get you
Because you do have another plugin, don't you, which is geared more towards pure orchestral.
We have the orchestra and we have the score, which are more cinematic focus.
But
more
they're still using
orchestrals.
the same kind of principle where you've got multiple parts and that's it. So, because I mean, certainly in film scoring, because the modulation wheel or certainly the fader, whenever you see a media composer, they're always on the expression. There's always part of it. So I guess this makes sense. Okay.
So the pulse is by far it's the biggest and the most powerful engine, because in the score we had like I think 8.
More of everything.
And and also the LFO, the random LFO, is just
Oh, because you can modulate things. You've got LFOs that can modulate parameters. I remember seeing that before.
Yeah, yeah.
Could you just show us that briefly? Because that was kind of neat.
Yeah, of course. Maybe if you go to this one here. So if you want to like maybe map the resonance to an LFO, just click
okay.
here and like in the global FX page.
So are those LFOs per part or global?
They are global, so
Right, okay.
yes. You have like in a triangle,
you
have
can tempo sync them, and right, okay.
Yeah,
but that's again another aspect of things, right? Okay, very interesting.
Yes.
So let's have another couple of demos, and then we'll play out. Jonas, thank you so much for coming and showing us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Jonas will now play us out with some of his best patches.